Hello there, I'm Mark Baer, and you're watching the YourTown television program, and my guest, Chelsea Riddle. Who's my favorite person on the planet?
That's me.
Chelsea Riddle. So we met at West End. We have kind of a West End show going on here, and in every art project, in my experience, that's in filmmaking, in cooperative art, and however, teams come together, and there's always this magic, and there's always this indispensable person that you hadn't met before, that you didn't know you needed.
Too much.
And that would be you. So besides being an artist, and we'll get to that in a second, you're also a AV technician for Glastonbury.
Correct.
And so at this moment, you're the Glastonbury representative, and I want to personally thank the team, Bob Carter, everybody from Glastonbury who was involved in the show. A big thank you. They were professional. They were compassionate to the artist, because Glastonbury does a lot of big corporate, and they don't do a lot of small scale stuff like me. But they did, and they were impeccably good at it. But you were indispensable because you were across the street selling your own art and presenting your own art. But you'd run in because I can't get near a machine. I can't look at a machine, and everything would break down. And you came in beyond the call of duty.
It was awesome.
And you were awesome. So let's back up a little. And first of all, let's talk about there aren't a lot of women on your team, on the tech team. How did you get into that?
Well, first off, I went to so I kind of grew up. I was that kid that would put spitballs in cassette tapes to make my own recordable cassettes, and turn something that my mom had that sucked into my own recordable tape. So I was always just kind of messing with things and twiddling knobs and just experimenting with sound and stuff. So I went to school for it, and I went to school in Texas for not event technology, but I went for electronic media, and eventually started actually working in event technology. And so I worked at the Ritz-Carlton for a couple years, and that was too corporate for me. So whenever I moved here, I started freelancing and just kind of doing stagehand work at Sunset Center, Golden State Theater, what is that one? Redwood City, and then eventually I got associated with Glastonbury, and I started just kind of part-time work with them. And they're such a great group of guys that I eventually went on to be full-time. And now I think my official title is project coordinator. So it's me and a bunch of dudes.
You and a bunch of dudes who
hanging
really
out.
rock, I must say.
I love them. They're a great team.
Tell me a little bit what your last week was in Car Week.
Whew. So we had 25 shows from the span of West End to the span of Car Week, or to the very end of Car Week. And it was a lot of juggling, a lot of, you do this, it's not your title, but just help where you can. And lots of sound systems, lots of waiting for equipment to be used here and moving it here. And it was a wild.
And it's very high stakes because if you don't do it right, the show doesn't go on.
Absolutely.
So
lots of money there. Lots of
money, a lot of stress, a lot of
lack of sleep.
Of sleep, because if it doesn't go right, you're the bad guy.
Pretty much, and your job is to not be seen. It's if it works correctly, no one knows that you're there.
Yeah, you get no applause, but
Right.
it's your fault if it goes wrong, and it's a high wire act.
Right.
And in technology and electronics, stuff can go wrong.
Absolutely.
And probably does go wrong, and you guys are behind the scene making everything go right.
Troubleshooting is your best quality. So it's nothing is ever going to work completely correctly. You have to expect and just anticipate that something's going to go wrong and know how to fix it. And so it's with the group of guys that we had over the course of the last week.
Richard, I want to put a I want to give a shout out to Richard.
Shout out to Richard.
Yeah.
Shout out to Scott.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jared. Everybody there is just really incredible. And I'm really lucky to have bosses that trust me and really have full faith in my abilities. So it's it's not just me. I'm just representing Glastonbury, you know, but it's really like a wonderful group of people that are very competent and good at what they do and passionate. So it's like,
but even more to it. So I'm the smallest fish on the whole totem pole, and I got not only the best, you know, they dealt with me in the absolutely the best, most professional way, but they indulged me in a way that, you know, I'm putting cameras or I'm putting projectors here and I got this there, and then I'm going, no, I don't think I can do that, and you know, I'm, you know, prima donna, and I got to move this over here and this,
No, it's
and
all part
then
of the
the next thing, and so I'm all over the map. I need 5 of this, no, I need 2 of that, you know, and you know, it's like the loudest, it's got the lowest down, but the loudest demands, and yet no attitude, absolutely rolling with it, absolutely making sure that I'm happy, working with, you know, all my limitations, and first class all the way, and it was just, and then at one point something broke, a cable broke, and I called up Glastonbury's, and within 8 minutes there was somebody there that fixed our problems, and I'm going, yeah, that's just like the real world.
Aww,
so
that's sweet.
I just wanted to, you know, just give the whole place the shout out and heartfelt thanks.
Thank you. You're just as important as any other gig, and it was fun. It was very cool.
And you guys made me feel that, and so that's special in this world.
That's awesome.
You know, that was. But now you, in particular, so we're going to off camera. What's now going to play over us while we're talking, which we haven't shot yet, but we're going to go shoot when we're done talking. So you fixed every problem at the end of the day. And so let me just back up a second. In my text, the narrator's going through this time where he can't get clear images from the universe. So he's going through, he picks up a bit of Carl Jung off the shelf, and he picks a line from Carl Jung, and then he takes a Bible off the shelf, and he picks a line out of the Bible, and then I picked a dictionary out of the shelf. And the word I came up with was enigma,
which is my last
a riddle. And so you show up, and you go, it's riddle, like an enigma. And I go, that's what that means. That's why you've shown up. That's why you're fixing everything and making it all run. And so the magic of the enterprise, you know, the magic that I'm sure you've had in your whole life of art, how this stuff just creates its own,
happens.
You know, its own kismet kind of thing. It's there. So, and so the last thing that we said walking out. So my big disappointment of the week. Everything else worked. But our bubble machine was really beat. I had the most beat bubble machine because I didn't have the right bubble machine sauce. And I said, I bet if I asked Chelsea how to fix the bubble machine, Chelsea would have known how to fix the bubble machine. And of course, Chelsea says, "Oh, well, I have the exact same bubble machine at home."
Right.
Now,
totally.
Who the hell has a bubble machine? First of all, second machine, who has the same bubble machine?
Fun people. Fun people have bubble
machines. And thirdly,
machines.
who knows the secret sauce of the bubble machine?
Right.
And what is that bubble mix?
So you can mix water, Dawn dish soap, and Caro syrup. You can get crazy with it and add like baking powder and cornstarch and whatever that you want, but like really,
because you want your bubbles long lasting and you don't want to be creating a big mess like I was creating. And
it can get really messy, man. So it's like,
and had I had enough faith to say, Chelsea, you can fix everything else. What about the bubble machine? Had I thought of that earlier,
you would have had a working bubble machine.
But we're going to get the picture anyway. So what people don't know won't hurt. We'll have the image of the bubbles, and so that will be over as we're talking. That is going to happen in the future, but it's going to just seem like it's already happened.
Yeah, we got the bubble machines in the other room.
We got the bubble machines there.
We're ready.
So let's go to your. So a couple of other things about you. Let's talk about the resonant, and we want to talk about two things. I want to talk to you about being a session vocalist and singing, and then let's talk about the art that you're doing, because you're doing fabulous art. So,
thank you.
And
how crazy is it that I was across the street from your installation, just like moments away where you can say, hey, I can't get this stuff on. And I run over there, get it all set up, come back to my booth and continue selling my art.
Yeah,
so it was cool.
It's almost the reason why making art is just this so great.
It's exciting.
Is because it opens up this world of people and things and specialness. And I think this is, I think this happens in every creative process. The right people come around at the right time, and everything manifests itself.
Absolutely.
And it's
it aligns, and it's networking, and it's fun.
And it's fun, and for people who are comfortable in the process, it's easy, and as if it should be against all odds. It's the odds of two people having the same bubble machine are pretty far flung. Let me put it that way.
That's true.
So let's get to the resin art.
Okay. So my business partner and I, Paige, she also has her own business that she goes by Paige Mocks. So she makes really cute bags and crocheted hats and all kinds of adorable stuff. But her and I teamed up to start doing resin art. And so we make anything from jewelry to coasters, combs, bookmarks, you name it. We just kind of started playing with the idea of preserving things. And I mean, you can put photos in them, you can put bugs in them, you can do anything. It's like dead bugs, obviously.
So how much experimentation did you have to get to create the right resin?
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't just happen, does
it? No, we've gone through like so many different types of resins where it's like, okay, well, this one's too bubbly, this one's too yellow, this one is blah, 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 insert word here, you know, and it's really one of those things where once you find something you like, then you can actually begin to experiment, and it's all an experiment up until the experiment. So it's all an experiment, and it's really fun, and you never know how it's going to turn out.
How important is first of all, I love that kids go into science and technology.
Totally.
How important do you think that background is that you have in what you're doing?
I would say being comfortable with trying things and failing is very important, because I'm a perfectionist, but at the same time, I'm also able to accept that something didn't go the right way the first time and just try it again, just experiment with it. And it's like, it's all really fun because then you get to learn. And I know so much about resin art now that I didn't know 6 months ago. Same thing with Paige. Like we have different styles. And so like, I'll do more like flower stuff and like, you know, dried flowers, dyed flowers, whatever, just kind of using the negative space of the clear resin to my advantage. And she went a little bit more hard in the paint, if you will, you know. And so like she started playing with like the ink more, and so I learned some from her, she learned some from me, and it's just this really beautiful collaborative effort that has turned into Two Girls One Art. And it's like, it's just fun.
Yeah, because you get it allows you the parts add up more. You know, 1 and 1 adds up to 3 when you're collaborating.
Absolutely.
You get more than yourself.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's cool because I love having her on my team, and I think she loves having me on her team, and we work really well together, but we have different things to offer. And it's just like we're both local artists that.
It was almost kind of like biomimicry in terms of things preserved in amber.
Totally,
you know,
totally. Jurassic Park all day.
It was very Jurassic Park.
Totally. And it's really fun because like now, like my grandma, she'll find like bugs in Texas because I'm from Texas. And so she'll find these little critters that are dried, that are preserved very nicely just in the woods because that's where she lives.
Oh, wow.
And she'll send them to me in these little plastic bins, and I'm like, what's in here? You know, like, and I just put that in resin, and it's, my grandma found it. How special is that? You know, so it's just really fun.
Isn't it great to have a way of, if you didn't have this art form, you'd have no way of dealing with that kind of thing. It would be absurd, and you wouldn't ever
like,
look at that.
Who gets bugs in the mail? I do.
You would, yeah. But how great!
It's so cool. I love it.
You know, if you don't have art as a way to do, you know, art's so absurd and impractical and unimportant and meaningless. And to embrace that, you know, and have that way to do stuff that you would just never do in any ordinary way. It's just such a luxury.
And it's fun, and it's like, you know, my whole life I've studied music. Like that's definitely.
And let's talk a little bit about your being a session vocalist.
Okay, so I was a competitive vocalist for like 14 years, from 7th grade through college, and once I I really got into electronic media, I had less and less time to continue with those humanities courses and to just sing for my enjoyment. I had to turn it into, okay, let's do radio broadcasts, let's do, you know, basic audio. I had to do that. But the reason that I actually went into electronic media is, for the lack of a better word, I didn't really want my musicality to be distorted. Like, I wanted to remain myself. And so I was like, let's just learn how to set all this stuff up. Like, why not? You know? And so doing that now enables me to like understand how equipment works and signal flow and everything like that. And so I can set all my own stuff up, but I'm also like still doing my own thing. And music is really like maybe the most important thing to me in my entire life. But now I'm in this art, like resin art thing, and it's just like from one thing to the next. I'm just having a lot of fun just playing around and experimenting. And it's like the nicest balance that I've ever had in my life.
So
you're
just you're surviving, you're making a living, you're doing stuff you love.
It's so great. Living the best life.
And following your, you know, I guess you're just a lesson of following passions. Because nothing really is well, the AV work is very practical, but it's
Totally.
all.
But it's all a luxury.
But you've made your fun, your passion, you've made it your life.
It's a perpetual journey, and it's really one of those things where, like, if I get stagnant in something, I'm like, okay, well, let me try this, let me try that, and I'm not always, you know, the most impractical person. I'm not always the most practical person, but it's like, I think that I've found like a healthy balance.
You found a nice balance.
Healthy balance for now, especially since I've moved from Texas. Like, I've lived here a year, and I've met so many people just since I've lived here that it enables me to keep going and growing and meeting people and trying new things. And it's just like super blessed.
And again, we were talking about manifesting. It's very important that a young person thinks it and does it.
Totally. Action speaks so much louder than words.
And the sooner that you learn that if I can think something and I can actually do it, getting confident, the more confidence you have with that, then as you go through life, you go, oh, I could do that, and you do it.
Practice, muscle memory.
And it seems like not only are you doing this and an exemplar of this, but your gang, your whole gang around
Everyone
you
around me is incredible.
Seems to be happy, to be doing, to be really rocking it, and it's a great thing to see, because
this world can be very dark, and so you have to lighten it. You have to do what you can and bring your own light. And it's like, what is that? What is the philosophy where if something breaks and you fill it with gold, it's more beautiful than whenever it was originally whole? Is that wabi-sabi, or is that another thing?
Well, wabi-sabi is you just go with
the
natural thing. With nothing is perfect, you know, nothing is permanent.
I don't remember the actual term for it, but it's like that's kind of.
But I understand what you're saying, and that's right. And things fall apart, and you but you go with the life that we have, and it's really beautiful. And the more way that we can, I mean, looking at bugs, what could show you more beautiful things?
Right.
You know, bugs and
like
amber. What could be more beautiful?
I made a scorpion purchase online. What? Who am I? Like, obviously they were dead, and hopefully no one tries to steal my package. But if they do, joke's on them. So, but like I'm almost 30 years old and I'm buying bugs.
What could be better?
I've made it. It's cool.
What better could you say of yourself?
Right. Right.
So anyway, we're out of here. We're gonna go fire up the bubble machine. We're gonna see
Bubble best friends for life.
We're gonna go get this shot that's gonna be over us as if it happened in the past. Anyway, we're out of here.
Thank you.
I'm Mark Baer. I'm with the great Chelsea Riddle. You're watching the YourTown television program. This is great fun, and we're gone. See you later.